Hello you guys and welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be a really long one. I'm predicting it. I have a lot of notes for this video, so go grab a drink, go grab a snack, because we're diving into my entire university experience, my thoughts, my opinions, and kind of my university story, because I've been to 3 schools, I've switched my degree multiple times. So it's gonna be a long one, so sit back, relax, grab a drink, maybe a snack, and let's just go right into this video. So, I wrote down a couple of questions that a lot of people I'm gonna back this up so you can see my shirt so it's not weird. So I have written down a couple of questions that me and other recent university graduates get asked a lot, so I'm just gonna go over those now. How does it feel to be done? Amazing. I'm so freaking happy that I am done. I was really ready to be done, especially this last year. This last year just felt like it dragged on, and it was probably the worst year. Like, it was just a time, fixing it again. It was just a time where you just want it to be done because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But at the same time, it is weird because a lot of things are up in the air. You just don't know for sure what's going to be happening. If you're wondering what this is, you're sitting on a couch right now, so that's just the arm rest. But a lot of things are up in the air. Like, I don't know where I'll be next month, let alone in the fall. Whereas if I was still in school, I know that I would be doing schoolwork in the fall. So there's just a lot of uncertainty right now, which really kind of freaks me out and gives me a lot of anxiety. But other than that, I am happy to be done. What was your experience like? And we'll get into this further. But it was terrible. I hated it. I hate school in general, but my whole experience was just quite terrible. Everything that I expected would happen didn't. I made no friends. My grades weren't the greatest. I didn't get involved. Like, there was just so much, like, the expectations of school, of university especially, that is put out into the world is not accurate. Especially, well, not for me anyway, but like, it's just not accurate. What you see in the movies, what you hear people say, your experience is not going to be the same. And I think that's where some of my experience went wrong, is because I had high expectations. I wanted to meet friends, I wanted to go out, I wanted to have the full university experience, and I didn't, which made my experience worse because I had these expectations in my head and they didn't come true. What's next is the question. I always heard in university how it's where you find yourself and you figure out what you want to do in life, but also you figure out your life plan. You figure out, you get relationships, friendships, everything like that, so your life is like put together. Mine's not. So truly, I think that's a lie. I think that's a load of shit. So another thing is, people expect to have jobs right out of university, and a lot of people are lucky in that regard. However, right now, and not everybody is that lucky, but right now especially, I have been applying for jobs. I've applied for probably close to 20 jobs, and I have heard back from 2 of them, and they said no. So I'm getting nowhere in the job regards. COVID has definitely wrecked my senior year as well as after senior year, because nobody wants a inexperienced worker during a time where they can't really afford their workers because of COVID. Like, everything was shut down for so long. So I truly don't know what I will be doing in the near future, in the far future, any future. I will keep you updated if I do get a job. I don't even know where I'm going to be living, let alone what I'm going to be doing, right? Like, so until I get a job, I don't know what I'll be doing or where I'll be living. I'll keep you up to date on that. I will mention that I am currently living at home, and I will be working at the pool once the pool opens up. So I will have a job eventually, but that's not until the pool does open. How do you keep a healthy mentality throughout this time? Nobody's personally asked me this, but I watched a video of somebody else who had recently graduated, and this is something that they were asked by a fellow graduate. So I thought it was a really good question. For me, I don't deal with change well in general. It doesn't matter the situation, I just don't deal with change well. So I truly can't answer that question. If I'm being 100% honest, I'm not doing terrific right now because there's so much changing. There's so much up in the air. There's so much change happening. And there's so much uncertainty. I just feel very sad and lost. Lost and hopeless, I guess, is the best way to describe how it feels being graduated but don't know where you're going in life. I don't know how to answer that because I truly just feel stuck and like I'm not going to be moving anywhere, like moving forward in my life anytime soon. A big question is, what was the biggest lesson? I would say the biggest lesson for me was not to have high expectations for everything. Everything I heard of university and the experiences that people have did not come true. So I went in with very high expectations that my experience would be the stereotypical experience of a lot of people and what they portray in the movies and shows. And it wasn't, and I was very disappointed, and I had a very terrible experience. And I feel like that was partly due to the terrible experience, but it was partly due to having such high expectations. So I don't know, I think my biggest lesson was don't have high expectations, and then you won't be overly disappointed in things, because I was very disappointed in my university experience and I had very high expectations. How have I changed throughout university? I would say I'm more shy and I keep to myself more. I wish that wasn't the case, but I think I just got so used to being alone because I didn't make any friends in university. So like I didn't leave. I don't know what to say, but like I didn't have many friends and I don't have many friends. So I just got used to being alone. And so I was always shy and I was always awkward, but now I keep to myself more. I'm even more shy, and it just didn't do good things for me. Do I miss university? No, not at all. It sucks, honestly. I don't want to portray education as a terrible thing, but the school I went to and the experience I had was terrible. Now, the next little portion of this video is going to be why I think university is a joke. And I have a little list on my phone. The first one is you have to pay for parking. You pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go to school there, and yet you still have to pay $10 for 2 hours of parking. Yeah, let that sink in. I think it's actually $9 for 3 hours. I can't even remember. It's expensive. It's like $3 or $4 an hour to park at the university, and it's terrible. It's honestly brutal, and it's a joke. Like, you pay thousands of dollars to go to school there. I will not stop preaching that, because you pay thousands of dollars to go to school and you still have to pay for parking there. That's the same with the hospital. Like, I just don't get it. Like, why are you paying for parking? What's the benefit for you guys? Pay for textbooks. If you require a book for your class that we already are paying for, you should provide that book. That's just a general. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Literally paying too much for everything. Nothing at the school is cheap. There was this cropped bunny hug that I really, really liked, and it was more expensive than a full-length bunny hug. So I didn't buy it. The food is very, very overpriced. textbooks, the actual schooling is also very overpriced. We're mandatory. Like, we have no say in paying for the bus pass, paying for your rec fees, like the gym, the pool, everything like that. We have to pay for everything. All of our fees, whether you use them or not, you have to pay for them, which I think is stupid, because if I'm not using it, why is my money going towards it? But whatever. You also have to pay for things that you don't use. Like, some books, the teacher will literally tell you halfway through the semester that you don't need to read it, you don't need that book, and yet it was a required reading for your course. So you just spent all your money for nothing, pretty much. 3/4, probably not even that. That's being generous. 95% of the teachers do not give a fuck. I had one teacher lose my final and then blame it on me and then deduct me marks because it was late, even though they lost it and I had the receipt that I handed it in. But she lost it and blamed it on me. I've just had so many terrible teaching experiences because the teachers at my school literally did not give a fuck. I had to report one teacher. I should have reported a total of 3 in just my last year alone. The teachers don't give a fuck. They truly don't. 95% of them, if you get a good teacher, be hella gracious towards them and be hella thankful towards them, because that is rare. Very, very rare. This one we will get in further. The student advisors, the student counselors, whatever you want to call them, they're supposed to guide you in how to pick classes, what classes you should take, what degrees, what requirements you need to meet, everything like that. They help you with your academics, picking your academics and helping you throughout all that. They tell you different things. Everyone you see will tell you a different thing. For example, I was told I needed an average of 60% to graduate. My average was over 60% to graduate. The next advisor I talked to told me something different. I needed a 60% in my overall classes, like all the classes going towards my degree. I needed 62.5% in my major requirements. So like, I had a major sociology. All of the classes that I had to have for that major, I needed a 62.5% average. And then my minor, which was psychology, which was only 6 classes of psychology. That's the only reason why I took the minors, because it was 6 classes. And I already had 2. Anyway, I needed 62.5% for my psychology minor. And that's what killed me. That's what pushed me back, was because my average for my psych was 61 something. So each advisor is going to tell you different. That's not the only example I could use, but that's the big one, because that was pretty damn important and they failed to mention it. Again, this is the part that we will get into further. They didn't tell me how to apply for a grad check. And then when I did ask, I had to email 3 times in 3 weeks. And then I finally got a response saying that I needed to fill out this form. Actually, it was 3 emails and 1 phone call later, I finally got my answer. And they told me on the last day to apply for grad check that I had to fill out this form. So I still haven't heard. This was 2 months ago. Still haven't heard back from them. I applied for grad anyway, but I still haven't heard back from them. And so I finally emailed again, and they're like, yeah, you won't hear until September. So we'll get into that later. I'm gonna leave that there because we will get into that later. But yeah, moving on. This was an experience I had in my first year of university where I was taking physics, and it was a physics lab, and you had the physics class and the physics lab, and there were 2 different classes, but the class took the lab mark towards the class mark, if that makes sense. But my lab final was worth 50% of my lab grade. No, 40% of my lab grade. And then I failed it. I failed my lab final. And so I don't even know where it said, it didn't say it on anything, but they switched it and they made my lab final worth 50% of my lab grade because I failed it. Let that sink in. They made my final worth more towards my grade because I failed it. They literally set you up for failure in that class and didn't warn you about it beforehand. Not that I went in there thinking I was going to fail the lab final, but they did not warn you at all. You were not told that beforehand. They did it, and it's literally setting you up for failure because obviously it's 10% higher. You're going to get a shittier mark at the end of it. So yeah, they literally set you up for failure in some classes. Just be forewarned. Okay, that is majority of why I think university is a joke. There is a lot more. I'm not saying all universities are a joke. If you know what you're doing, like nursing, I have quite a few friends who went into nursing, and it's very direct because you're learning what you're going to be doing, right? Like you're learning nursing. My degree, I had to take like fucking English classes and math classes when sociology has nothing to do with either. Like making you take classes that have absolutely nothing to do with your degree, I think is a waste of time, a waste of money, and it's literally just a money scam for them to get more money and to get more people taking the classes that nobody would take otherwise. It's honestly just a scam and a waste of your time and money. So unless you know for sure that that is what you want to do, like nursing, yes, you're learning about nursing. I can honestly say what my job will be has nothing to do with the degree I took. The job that I take most likely will just require a degree. That's it. It's basically a filler degree, honestly. But that thought just randomly came to my head. Like, honestly, you have to take classes that have no relation to your degree. And it's just so the university can make more money. But now we're moving on to my university story. Like I had mentioned, I switched schools a bunch of times, switched degrees a bunch of times, so we're going to get into it. By starting off, I need a drink actually. Starting off by saying I was not one of those kids who left high school knowing exactly what they wanted to do. Like I mentioned, I do have some friends who the second they graduated, they knew they wanted to be a nurse. They took 4 years of nursing and now they're a nurse. I was not one of those kids. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I switched my degree a bunch of times. So when I left high school, firstly in high school, grade 12, I wanted to be a marine biologist. First year of university, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just going in trying to figure out what I liked. Second year of university, I decided I wanted to do nursing. Third year of university, I decided I did not want to do nursing, and I fluttered between drama and sociology. Fourth year, I finally picked sociology and stuck to it, and that is what my degree is in. Moving on, I went to 3 different schools. My first year was at one school, my second year was at another school, my third, fourth, and fifth year were at another school. So 3 schools in total. Technically, my second year school was through the school that I graduated from, so the third, fourth, and fifth year school. Does that make sense? The second year school was a community college, so the college was through the university that I then moved to. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm actually going to be reading probably straight off my phone because I kind of wrote it all out last night. As hard as it is to admit, and it's very embarrassing for me to even talk about, and nobody in my personal life other than my parents and my brother know this, but I've failed quite a few classes in university, and I felt so lost and alone and embarrassed because nobody ever talked about it. No one in my friends group failed classes. All my friends are hella smart to begin with. Like, they're like 80% students. My brother is an 80% student. I am not, and nobody was ever talking about it, and so I felt very alone, and I felt very dumb because I was failing these classes, and I felt very, very stupid because nobody else I knew was failing classes. And I will never forget, it was second semester of my first year, and a friend in high school, because I knew one person who failed one class, and it wasn't even friends with her, it just followed the grapevine. She failed one class. It was a girl I graduated with, and one of my friends who was still in high school said, I don't know why she would keep trying if she failed a class in her first semester of university. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there like, I failed 2 in my first semester of university. So, like, I just felt so dumb and so alone, because honestly, I didn't know anybody. I personally did not know anybody who failed a class. And my dad kept telling me, it's common for first years, like, don't beat yourself up. You're not the only first year student who's struggling. I struggled my whole university career, and he still said that every year, like, you're not the only one struggling. A lot of kids struggle. But, you know, I think it's the comparison between me and my brother and me and my friends, because, you know, it's so hard to be the dumb one. It's so hard to be the dumb family member, to be the dumb friend. I could never tell my friends what I got on a test because I knew damn well they got better than me, and they would just give me that pity. Oh, that's good, Mark. That's a good mark. Although I will say I was not failing out of school. Like, I had some marks in the high 60s, and then I was failing a couple classes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I was ever failing every class. I wasn't failing out of school. However, it was hard. It was tough to go through. As the years went on, the grades got better. I failed a couple classes in my first year, failed none in my second year, failed 1 or 2. I think just 1 in my third year, and then 4th and 5th year I didn't fail anything. So the grades got better. I stopped failing classes as time went on, but it was still something that was embarrassing to me, and still to this day, like I mentioned, nobody but my parents and my brother in my personal life know about that. Nobody, like, my friends don't know, my grandparents didn't even know. Like, I don't know, it was just something very embarrassing, and I guess I'm only mentioning it because I did feel so alone. So if you are in your first, second, or third, or any year of university, if you're going into university and you think you're going to struggle, just know that you are not alone, because I felt so alone because nobody would talk about it, and people in my personal life I know didn't fail classes. So yeah, you're not alone if you're failing. Then that, coming off of that topic, actually, is academic probation. I was put on academic probation 2 or 3 times, I think 3. And the whole concept of it is fucked to me. I don't see the point in it. I don't see how universities can think that's helpful. I don't understand why, if my average is not a failing average, my average never fell below 55. Yeah, my average was never below 55%. So I was nowhere near a failing average. I was not failing out of school. But I just don't see the point in why universities do that. Like, what's the difference to them? They're still getting my money. I'm still paying for the class I failed. So what's the difference to them? What my average is. You know what I mean? I just the whole process is a joke, because putting a student that is already struggling and is already stressed out about it on academic probation, threatening to kick them out of school, a school I pay to go to, you're threatening to kick them out of school, putting more stress on that student, making them struggle even more. The whole process is a joke. The whole process is a joke. But yeah, my first school put me on academic probation. I was already not happy and was already planning on leaving that school. I didn't know if I was going to continue school. I didn't know if I was just going to work. I didn't know what, but I was put on academic probation. when I did transfer schools, that probation did follow me. So I was on probation at my new school. I got out of it second year. Third year, after third year, so I'd finished 3 full years of school, I was put back on academic probation, got off of it on 4th year, first semester, and actually I think that's it. Yeah, I honestly think I was only put on twice, which is a lot, but it was 2 times. And like I mentioned, my average was never below, I put down in my notes, my average never fell below a 57. So a 50 is a fail. My average was never anywhere near a fail. And yet they put me on academic probation. For why? For what? Like, it just makes no sense to me. Added stress. Added struggle. The whole process is stupid. And it's literally the university's way of being. And I should have said this at the beginning. My school is not a good school. My school is nothing special. If you graduate high school, doesn't matter what your average is, you will get into this university. Like, it is not a hard university to get into. So who are they to tell me my 57 average is gonna get me kicked out of school? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. This school thought they were fucking Harvard. Like, I don't know who they thought they were. My school was not shit. Like, anybody could get into this school as long as they finished high school. It honestly was not shit. It's not like it was UBC. It's not like it was University of Toronto. It was not shit. It's literally anybody could get in. I don't know how else to emphasize that. If you graduated high school and applied, you could get into this school. And now, like I mentioned, we were coming back to this topic, is I still don't know if I can graduate. So I was supposed to graduate in December. And then my average for my minor, like I kind of explained, was not high enough. So then I had to take 3 classes in the winter semester. So then I was supposed to graduate in June. I was supposed to be in Florida for June, so I didn't apply for June convocation. However, I could have. Actually, I don't know that technically, but I could have applied and possibly have graduated in June. But because I wasn't supposed to be here, I didn't. So I recently applied for grad, which I explained that whole fiasco, and I applied for graduation. Again, I explained that fiasco. Still more to come. For November convocation. And I just want to go back a little bit. In December, I had all my credits to graduate. All my averages were high enough to graduate, except for my minor, which was 6 classes of psychology, which was my minor, not my major. They wanted my average to be at 62.5. My average was 61.9. Let that sink in. It was 0.6% less than what they wanted, what they need. So they made me take more classes. It's a scam. It's literally a scam. I don't know how else to articulate this. If you were not as dumb as me, you don't experience this because it doesn't apply to you. If your average is in the 70s, you have nothing to worry about. Because I'm dumb, I'm getting scammed more. Like, it just... I get heated about this. I honestly... It's so dumb. I think I get so angry about it because I pay to go to school here. My average is 0.6% less than what you want. Why do you care? I paid for that education. That has nothing to do with you. You take my money, you give me the class, I take the mark. That's how it should work. As long as I don't have a 45% average in all of my classes, you shouldn't care. University is a joke. My university was a joke. I think my biggest issue was it's a decent average. And they discouraged me and made me take more classes, which then just pissed me off. The whole me asking how to apply for a grad check, them not responding for 3 weeks. I emailed them 3 times, phoned them once. And then they told me the last day that I was able to apply, how to apply. And so I had to rush and email them my form back. I emailed them at 11:30, I believe, my form on the last day, because that's when they got back to me. And I didn't hear anything. So then I just applied for graduation. And then I ended up phoning them a couple weeks after I applied for graduation and asked them what the status of my grad check was and my status of my grad application. And they said, "Oh yeah, we're still working through it. We'll get to it in September. We'll finish it in September." They said I should hear back in September. I personally think that's very pathetic, because if for some reason, and this happens to a lot of people, that they think they have the requirements and they don't, they think they have the classes that they need and they don't, they can't get that in the fall semester if we don't hear back until September. If they tell us after September 14th or something like that, it's too late to register for the fall semester. So then you just screwed those kids over 4 months where they wouldn't have a degree and they wouldn't be in school. I think it's just pathetic, because it doesn't give anybody enough time to plan. Like I mentioned, for me, for example, say I was missing a class and I didn't know it. 1 class, 2 classes, whatever it is. If they don't tell me till September 13th, let's say, I would have to pack up my shit, move 2 hours away, short noticed, find a place to live, register for classes, buy my textbooks, catch up on the 2 weeks of school I've missed, just to get those classes. Because you took all summer, a COVID summer, that nobody has anything else to do. Like, what are you doing that you have to take till September to get back to us? People have been applying for this graduation since March or April. So all of these months, what are you doing? I realize a bunch of kids are graduating, but it should not take you that many months to get back to them and tell them if they can graduate or not. I think it's just pathetic, and it really ended off a terrible experience of university as a whole with a terrible experience. My overall consensus, I'll leave, that's my last point that I have written down. I will leave this video with this. I don't want to discourage anybody from getting an education. Do I regret getting a university education? No. Do I wish I had a different experience? Do I wish I went to a different school? Yes. Do I wish I went into school once I knew what I wanted to do? Yes. For me, personally, I still think that this was the best choice to go to school right after high school, even though I didn't know what I wanted to do, because I can truly say I don't think I would have went regardless. Even if I figured out what I wanted to do, I could not see myself going back to school. I hated high school, and if I didn't just go from school to school, I probably would not have gone to school. So for me, that was the right decision. I wish I would have gotten into the college of my choice, which was Dalhousie University. I unfortunately did not get into that school, so I had to go to a school that I did apply to, but it was not my top choice, which I also think portrayed into my hatred of school. I don't want to discourage anyone from getting an education. Education is terrific. I just think university is overrated. I think university is not what it's made out to be. I think there's better options than university. So, I hope that all made sense. I don't want to discourage you guys. If you're going into your first year, I don't want to scare you. I just want you to know truly what to expect and not to go in with high expectations, because what you see, other people might have an amazing university experience. For me, I didn't, but other people might have that amazing experience and that stereotypical movie experience, right? Like that made up experience, whereas you might have the worst time of your life, which is what I had. So I just wanted to get the other side of it out. Not all of it is sunshine and rainbows. Some people might have that experience, a lot of people do, but there's always the dark side that nobody seems to talk about. So yeah, I think university is overrated. I think you should only go to university if it really, I don't know how to say it, like, go to university, but just know that your experience might not be what you expect it to be, and just know that it is, in my mind, just a money grab, and everything you're paying for. Like nursing school, I don't know how to articulate it. Nurses go to nursing school. They go to school to learn about nursing. They become a nurse. 100%. Same thing with doctors, dentists, vets, lawyers. Whereas if you're taking an arts and science degree like me, you take classes that have nothing to do with your degree, nothing to do with what you want to do. I just want to make people think more before they think that they have to go to university. I honestly don't know how to end this video, but that was my experience of university. I don't want to discourage anyone from getting an education. I just wanted to get, I guess, the dark side of my experience and the dark side of university out there, so that people don't go in thinking that it's going to be this glamorous time with just a little bit of school. Like, I'm gonna make so many friends, I'm gonna have the best time of my life, because it was the worst time of my life, and I don't think people talk about that side enough. Maybe a lot of people don't experience it, and that's amazing. I'm happy, because my university experience made me feel very, very shitty, very, very dumb, and very, very lonely, and very, very terrible in general. So I'm gonna stop talking. I have 41 minutes of footage. Hopefully I can cut a lot out, but that is it for today's video, you guys. I hope you did enjoy. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so I hope you subscribe so you never miss a video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.